Morning. Obviously, more or less people know me, but for new guys, my name's Matt. So I'm in Tom's team, just through in the other room with Claire. So obviously, a big part of the job is objection handling. If it was really easy, everybody would just say yes on the phone. Unfortunately, they don't. So if you want to fire off some objections, just shout them out. We'll write them down and just go through them all.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, nice.
Send me an email.
Email.
I've already got an advisor.
Advisor.
I do my own finances.
Yeah.
Where did you get my number?
Yeah.
Don't like the
Reputation. Yeah. Get that a lot, do you, Mark?
apparently so.
Anything else?
Don't like cold calls.
Cold calls. Yeah.
Don't have money.
No money. I think that's it, is it? Yeah, that'll do. Right, yeah, so we'll go through them individually one by one, and then we'll go through them all properly at the end as well. So, not interested, probably going to be the most common one that you'll face. Always just a bit of a smoke screen, right? So it's always finding the real reason why they're not interested. So I like to lead it down to basically putting words in their mouth so they go into a different objection. So it's like, oh, naturally you're not going to be interested. I've sort of called you out of the blue, don't really know who I am. Is that because you've already got a different advisor? And then you sort of already bypassed it, been not interested, and we're then going on to a different objection. You can just ask more questions. What is it that you're not interested in? Maybe you had a bad experience before. You ever sat down with an advisor? Why is it that you don't like them? Things like that. Essentially, the more questions you ask, the easier it is to overcome your objection, yeah? Send me an email. Pretty common, I'd say. Ultimately, people don't always have the time of day to speak to you for 15, 20 minutes. If they send you an email, it's like, look, I can do, not an issue, but ultimately what we do, it's tailored to everybody's circumstances, it's bespoke to you. All we've got is a generic 52-page PDF. It's going to be a waste of your time reading it, my time sending it. 15 minutes next week or later on this week, we'll be able to sit you down with an advisor instead. Done. These two are pretty similar, right? Advisor and own finances. So it's pretty much the same objection for both. So if someone's saying, oh, I've already got a different advisor, right, you want to be complimenting them that. Like, oh, that's really good that you're taking your finances seriously. You'll be surprised the amount of people I speak to out here in the Middle East. People don't have the finances sorted. What is it that you're working with your advisor? More financial planning, different investments. You just keep asking questions with this as well. Like what sort of returns are you getting? Certain areas that you like to invest. Have you done real estate investments? And then ultimately, you have to big up DeVere at some point, right? So you can say, look, we actually are the world's largest independent financial advisory. We do have exclusive access to different products and services you can't get with your current advisor or as a retail investor if they do finances themselves. Like what we find is these complement your portfolio really nicely. We wouldn't want you to change advisor straight away. We could look to maybe just strengthen your position, offer some diversification, take advantage of different revenue streams you're not currently involved with. Sound fair? Bosh, done. So yeah, they're pretty much the same, right? So how do you get my number? I think especially Brits probably say this. How do you get my number? How do you get my details? One or two ways. Look, it's actually my senior consultant that came across you yourself. He actually asked me to give you a call this morning, reach out, match his current client base, things like that. Or, we've actually got an in-house marketing department and they look for individuals such as yourself. They meet my consultant's current client base. He has the availability to expand that now and asked me to reach out to you personally. Different ways to do it, ultimately, same reason, yeah. Reputation, again, probably more common with Brits, I'd say, if people have heard of DeVere, because ultimately they'll have been called before, right? Unless they just got off the plane, it's probably rare that they won't have been called by us. Just say, oh, I don't like DeVere, or so what is it that you don't like? Have you had a bad experience before? Have you ever sat down with anybody here before? And then you've obviously then got to overcome it, right? So like saying, oh, actually, the company did go through a full restructuring program. If you look at Devere in Europe, we've actually got really good reviews. So Devere took over Acuma, don't quote me when, but they did. So they automatically took on board their reputation, right? So Devere as a whole parent company actually does have a good reputation, but they've got the reputation from before. Similar to that, just move on, try and get past it if you can, and then into something else. Don't like cold calls. Had that once in almost a year, so probably not going to be the most common one. It's like, neither do I. Look, I get it's not the best way of doing business, but now I've got hold of you, you've just got a couple of minutes to spare, something like that. No money. I won't say this is particularly common. Mark, you're smiling. You're calling the wrong people. No, I wouldn't say it's particularly common, but look, you just say, look, it's a big misconception that people need tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started. What we do, it's all tailored, it's bespoke to you. We can obviously go around what you've got spare now and increase your wealth over time. So that's pretty much it for all of them. I'm not sure if anyone's got any questions off the bat, and then we'll obviously do everyone's favourite bit of some role play. No? Cool. All right. Mark, sorry, you'll have to go. You'll have to go first. Look, I'm not interested, Mark. What are we saying?
I understand that you're not interested. This is a bit out of the blue. Is there a particular reason for that? Maybe you already have an advisor or you manage your own finances?
Yeah, nice. So look, coming over that, not interested straight away, putting words in their mouth, so they basically just have to say yes, or if they say no, we'll give you a different reason. Oh, you know, no, I'm moving back home next week or something. Manita, can you just send me an email, please?
So yes, of course I can send you an email, but what we do is bespoke and tailored to your specific needs. If I send you a generic 52-page email, it will take you a lot of time to read, and I don't want to waste your time, and certainly not my time sending the email. So the best way to go forward is to book a consultation. That's going to take you 15 minutes with my senior advisor. Does that sound fair?
Spot on. Perfect. Sam? Already got an advisor?
Okay.
Sorry, that's one of the tough ones.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that you take your finances seriously. A lot of our clients here already have other advisors, whether that being in the UK or here in Dubai. Have you sat down with them recently? And what investments have you got already?
Yeah, nice, good questions. You know, find out some information about that to say, oh yeah, you know, I'm doing this. I thought, nice, what sort of returns are you getting from that? Oh, we've got similar, but it's better, cheaper, because we're the biggest, we're the best. Nabil, how'd you get my number?
I'd probably say, I was actually approached by, I was asked by my consultant to reach out to you. You're looking for people as yourself. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, I think it probably will be pretty common. How do you get my number? How do you get my details? In-house marketing department. You meet my current client's base. He now has availability to expand that. He came across you personally and asked me to give you a call. James, I don't like Devere.
Okay, do you mind me asking what it is that you don't like about Devere? You may not know, but Devere as a whole actually has an extremely good reputation. Devere did take over Acuma, and it was Acuma that did have that bad reputation, and as they kind of took that over, they took on that reputation with it. So what is it that you didn't like? Or
Yeah, nice, well done. Chantal, I don't like cold calls.
Which one?
Cold calls.
I respect that, Matthew. I did just call you out of the blue, but now that we're on the phone, if you have a few minutes, I can go over the reason why I thought it was important to call you this morning, and see if you can offer some value to you.
Yeah, nice. Well done. Clients? I have no money.
Yeah, I do understand that most people just have the perception that you need a lot of money to go into investment, but no. If you give me some time, I can brief you how it goes about why you don't need much money to go into investment.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, tailor everything to you, whatever you've got left over or at the end of the month, make that work better than having cash in the bank, yeah? That's pretty much all of them. I'm not sure anyone got any questions.
On the one where they say they handle their own finances, so I have an advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is I work with, maybe my wife works in finance, or my cousin, his brother, whoever is like
Okay.
in finance. So
Yeah, yeah.
they have a relative or friend, or they do work in finance themselves.
Yeah.
So how do you usually handle that?
I think if they work in finance themselves,
Actually, typically when they do work in finance and I find them on LinkedIn, I start off with that.
Yeah.
So when I call them, I make sure that they know that I'm calling people in finance. So I'm calling them because they do work in finance.
Yeah.
But then sometimes maybe they have a relative instead that works in finance, or their wife, or
Mhm.
it helps them like that. So how do I make them see that it's silly that they're having their finances handled by their friend when they should be working with an actual third-party advisor?
yeah, I think that's when you've just got to go down the line of something like exclusive access to different products and services you won't be able to get with your friend, your cousin, your brother, your dog, whatever else it is that's managing the finances. It's like, look, what we see is these complement your portfolio nicely. We obviously wouldn't want to sever any ties with your connection. We can complement what you've already got going on now. We do get cheaper fees because of our economies of scale. What we find is better returns as well. It just helps strengthen your position in the market, take advantage of different areas you might not be involved with now, and go from there.
Okay, and then on that, if they have an advisor that they've had a long-standing relationship with, because I had one person that I called, they had like a really good relationship with their advisor and worked with him for 11 years. I wasn't quite sure how to handle it because I didn't want to come off as trying to, steal it from the advisor.
Yeah.
And they found out about their advisor about how, I'm a really sure.
I'm not amazing.
I'm a relationship guy, I'm a really good relationship with this guy, and I'm interested in
Yeah.
getting a review and changing my advisor.
Yeah, ultimately you can't get everybody that you call right. The cases, they might have worked with them 20, 30 years. Chances of them actually now wanting to sit down with somebody else, pretty unlikely, right? But try and just big up us again, or find out what they've got going on. Like, oh, okay, you do this, like what sort of level of returns you get in, how much fees is that? You're having quarterly reviews, weekly newsletters, something like that. Just try and ask more questions. Might be room, but ultimately, if they have worked with them for decades, might just have to cut your losses with that, to be fair. I shouldn't be saying that, should I? Yeah. Anything else?
And then how do you get people to shut up on the phone if no, like sometimes, like last week I had this problem where I would call someone and they're like, oh, I'm retiring in 3 months, right, or something like that.
Okay.
So I realized there's not much we can do. I tried the FX route and they don't really need that. And then when I realized there's no need, they just want to keep yapping, and I want to move on to my next call. I really struggled with it last week, and I don't want to be rude and
But they might want to invest.
Pardon?
If they're close to retirement, they might have money to invest.
Yeah.
We had gone through everything, and at this point, they don't want to sit down. So I've gone through the whole pitch with them. We've had a really good conversation. They really just flat out say no.
Okay.
I'm bad at pitching to them. But at the end, I'm like, okay, now shut up and you move on to the next thing. But I can't say it bluntly, so they just keep talking.
Just say, I appreciate your time today. I need to get on to my next.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might get some sort of severance package for leaving as well. So if they've worked there, 12 years, they'll get a pretty good chunk of money when they finish.
So the problem wasn't in like trying to get them to sit, but more like I can see that there's.
So your question is, how do you get them to stop talking?
Yeah.
Big red button on your phone. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, exactly what Mark says. Look, okay, look, maybe we're not the best people, or we might not be able to help you with anything today. Appreciate speaking to you though. Enjoy your retirement. Done. See you later.
I had one guy, 11 minutes. I told him 3 times, like 3 or 4 times, and he just kept going. And then I had to go home.
Yeah, I'll be saying I've got to be off. But yeah, fair enough.
Chantal likes talking to you, that's what we learned.
I don't talk.
So I got like 2 specific niche objections. One related to education planning.
Okay.
So particularly for someone that's had a kid recently and you think about maybe you should plan to your education. sometimes they say, oh, it's a bit too early for that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's one objection. And the second objection is more regarding life insurance.
Okay.
Some people will be like, I've got life insurance in my company. So
Yeah.
how do I explain to them that, okay, that's only related to how long you're with the company and what do you have anything planned? If
Yeah.
you leave?
Okay, first one, if the kid's like, 6 months old, for example, ultimately, the earlier they start saving now, you're going to be taking advantage of things like compounded interest, yeah? Obviously, things are just going to increase over time as well. The sooner you start saving now, the more money you're going to have at the end of it. And then try, or just make something up. Like, look, we've actually got an advisor here, he's recently just had a child similar age to you. He's already now got some investment pot going on at the side, already preparing for their education fees. Ultimately as well, over time, inflation, cost of living, their tuition fees is going to increase as well. It's not going to stay the same as whatever it is now. Cost of living will increase for the kid. Price of accommodation is going to increase for this kid. So early you start investing, early you start saving, it's only going to benefit you. For the life insurance one, if they've already got it with their work, maybe find out what level of coverage they've got, how much does it cover them for, critical illness cover as well, disability cover. If you get ill, you can't work, you're not going to get your life insurance money. You're then out of a job, you have no money, and you're not going to get any form of insurance coming through. So, look, Mr. Client, it's pretty horrible, but 66% of people are going to get cancer at some point. If that's you, you can no longer work, you're then going to be out of a job, right? So critical illness for that, or if you get really severely ill or disabled, disability cover as well. Yeah?
Cheers, thank you.
No worries.
I have a question
Ooh, okay.
to you and to everyone else in here.
Yeah?
Reputation. So in which specific situation are you having issues with our reputation? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I would personally say it's mainly Brits. They've been absolutely, hammered, not by us, but we're not the only advisory company out here, right? There's loads. Everybody wants to target the Brits. They've probably got the best potential for, like a bond or going back to the UK, something like that. So people say, oh, I don't like De Vere, or don't like De Vere, we've got a bad reputation. Ultimately, unfortunately, back in the day, people were here just solely for themselves to make money, right? Not really focusing on the advice, but maybe mis-selling products. So you just got to get past it. Company went through a full restructuring. Unfortunately, we did have a few bad apples or whatever else.
So this is a first call to someone. Literally, you're saying, "Hi, I'm from De Vere," and they're like, "Oh, De Vere have a bad reputation," or something like that.
Bang, found out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's only fair as well that we've been here for donkey's years calling people, and they've probably been called many times.
That's it. But when you're the big dog or whatever else, you're going to be subjected to criticism and hate as well, isn't it?
So, from my experience, and I've never had that on the phone, but I have had people who've Googled, the name of the company, and I used to work for a competitor that had the same issues, because all the big companies have been around for a long time, all ended up having a reputation, which is normal. The larger the company, the larger the reputation. There's a website called Piss Consumer that you guys can find. It basically has all of the complaints from everyone on every company, and of course, De Vere will have a gazillion of complaints. People will come back and look, I found this online, it's terrible, look what people are saying. I said, great, did you have a look at how many complaints HSBC has?
Yeah.
It's number one, right? So basically like 25,000 complaints. How about DHL? 15,000 complaints. Would you open an account at HSBC? Would you use DHL to send? Yeah? Right, so proof is, the bigger the company, the more people will be complaining, because they're bound to make some complaints, they're bound to be unhappy.
Yeah.
You create a reputation by being around, because of your sheer size and whatever. But it's probably a bit more complicated, obviously, if it's on the phone in the first chat. I don't know, but I'm surprised that people said. And you were mentioning Acuma. People have actually said Acuma, or rather than De Vere. That's a bad reputation. I thought it was the other way around. I thought we were called Acuma because of De Vere.
So De Vere took over Acuma.
Which is a Hong Kong company originally.
Right. So they had reputational damage before. So you take them on and you keep the name, people still associate it.
So Acuma had a bad reputation?
Yeah. I've called people as well, so like, where are you calling from? Say Acuma. Or say, oh, is that to do with De Vere? Yeah. I was like, I don't like De Vere. So it's similar. Okay. But yeah, you are right. Like you can say on the phone, like who's got, in this room, everyone's probably got an iPhone amongst maybe a couple, right?
Yeah, everybody's complaining about their iPhones, but they still have.
Yeah, exactly. Apple products.
iOS 18, how's it treating you?
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Apple's got a bad rep, or people complain about it all the time. I've still got an iPhone in my pocket. I can see, 7 or 8 kicking about in this room. There's different ways to do it, but you are right. You say, look, you probably still bank with, Lloyds, HSBC, whoever. They've got really bad reviews, but don't let that stop you. Yeah. Anything else? No? Sound.
What was the email bit?
So we do bespoke, tailored information. So you send a generic email. We waste your time reading it. It's 52 pages. Instead, it gives 15 minutes next week.
What do you mean bespoke email? I don't understand.
No.
You mean when you just spam people by email rather than calling them?
No, I would never send emails. But if people ask for an email on the phone,
If they ask for an email.
yeah, what we do is bespoke and tailored advice. So sending an email is just going to be a waste of your time. Yeah. Sound?
Yeah.
No round of applause?